Hello. Yeah, this is just a vinyl find sort of catch-up video. Yeah, maybe as expected. I've been a little bit busy in the last week. I've been on a bit of a trip with work. Had to be in the north of Scotland, right up in the Highlands, sort of a place called Ferry, which is the best part of a 9-hour drive for me, and it's not much fun doing that in a oneer. So yeah, I sort of took a few days either side, and yeah, sort of made the most of it. Maybe made it into a little bit of a holiday. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing around Ferry. I mean, the nearest shop's sort of 40 minutes away, and there's no records anywhere. It's not about that. It's it's just an opportunity to get out in the hills and enjoy the scenery, which is amazing. But yeah, on the way up, I sort of had a night in Pitlochry and broke the journey up that way. And on the way back, went via Ullapool and then Inverness, had a night in Stirling. Yeah, and I like Stirling, and there's Europa Music there, which is a pretty amazing shop. They've always got interesting things, but yeah, you've got to be careful in there because things are priced appropriately, let's say. So, you know, interesting, desirable things are going to be expensive. But yeah, maybe I don't know, 50% of what I'm going to show here was from a sort of a bit of a pop-up event that was on local to me before I set off. And to be honest, I delayed setting off so I could go to this because it was it's a friend of a friend really who's in touch with this guy called Mike. I mean, I see him around sometimes. He sometimes sells at Saltaire and maybe Leeds. I mean, I don't think he's a record dealer. He's just got the bug. He's just always buying collections, and every time I speak to him, he's just waiting on something getting delivered. He's, ordered a load of things from America or some collection from Scotland or whatever it is. So, he's a man who's got records to sell rather than somebody who's just obsessed with trying to make the biggest profit out of whatever he's selling. So he's so generous. He's really reasonable. Yeah, and I mean, he said himself, just setting up in his garden and in his shed, and doing something like that, it's no hassle for him. He doesn't have to cart loads of boxes of records from one place to another. He's not paying any fees. Most of the things were not priced, but he just said, if there's anything priced, ignore it, and we'll just work it out. And yeah, so I mean, I've been to one of these that he did about 3 years ago, and it was great fun. So I was keen to go to this, and yeah, so we went Sunday morning, and it was just me and my mate who were there in the morning, and I hope other people turned up later on. But yeah, I think it was probably worth his while, just based on what me and my mate ended up going away with. I mean, he spent a lot more than I did. I think I spent 70 quid. Yeah, he actually totted it all up. I think it came to 60 quid, but then because my mate was spending so long working out what he was doing, I found other things, so it ended up being 70 quid. This is a nice touch. But yeah, anyway, there's quite a few records here, and I'll just get through it. But this first one, Rick Powell Choir Book. This was from a charity shop in Inverness. Just loved the sleeve. And then when I looked into it, it's on Word, which is a Christian label. And this is a keeper. It's from '74, and it's a Christian record with like a bit of an experimental synth sound to it. Probably most obviously on the first track, Joyful Noise, and then after that, I mean, the song structures and sort of composition a bit more traditional, but there's definitely like this synth element throughout, which just makes it a really interesting listen, and this is definitely a keeper. There's another track which I've put on the playlist, which is And This Is Love. That's just a beautiful song. someone's left a couple of comments on YouTube sort of making reference to that, which was interesting to read. So yeah, this is like a UK pressing, which is impossible to find. There's an identical US pressing just with a different catalogue number. There's loads of those. So I mean, this is a cheap record if you get one of those. Yeah, this was from the Oxfam shop in Stirling, Abramos. Didn't know this record. It was priced at 35 quid. I mean, you can't negotiate in Oxfam generally, so that's what I paid. But yeah, it looked interesting, so I looked it up. And it's a French folk album from 75. It's on this sort of private press type label, I think. There's only a handful of copies on Discogs, you know, like maybe there's like 6 for sale and there's 25 in people's collections. And there was a couple of tracks on YouTube which I listened to and I quite liked. And so I was thinking, well, you know, 35 quid these days. It's just like, it's the cost of a new record, isn't it? But the thing that swung it was that it came with this booklet. And I couldn't see this booklet mentioned anywhere on Discogs. There was no photos of it. None of the copies for sale mentioned a booklet. It's got all this text, illustrations. I'm assuming a lot of these are the lyrics. So I think it must be the musical accompaniment to a theatre production that they put on. And so, yeah, suddenly I thought 35 quid's pretty reasonable. And the record's near mint, I'd say. And yeah, so this track, Columbine, is the one that's on YouTube on the playlist. This track, Percussions Pour on His Spas. Really like this, actually. This is a sort of 8-minute instrumental track, which is it's pretty gentle, but yeah, I really like that. I mean, if I get around to it, I might record that and put that on YouTube. So this is Jim Ingram, drum beat. Didn't know this either. This was from Mike's pop-up fair. So this is from 74. This is his only LP. He was from Detroit. He was like a journalist and newsreader. Quite political. Must have been a bit of a political activist, because this is like a spoken word album with musical backing. I mean, there's one instrumental track which is homebrew. All the rest have got lyrics, and I suppose it's in the style of earlier Gil Scott. Well, maybe just Gil Scott Heron actually, or Last Poets. And it's excellent. I Remember America. I've put that on the playlist. Drum Beat is probably the most popular. That was sampled by the Chemical Brothers for their track It Began in Africa. Yeah, so very happy to get this. It's on this Respect label. Yeah, very happy to get this. Mary Wells, My Baby Just Cares for Me. This was from Europa, from the back room, priced at 12 quid, which, to be honest, for them is like insanely reasonable, really, because it's a really nice copy of this, and the record's in as nice a shape as the sleeve. Probably VG++. So this is a UK mono. The American version's got a different sleeve, different title. Sings My Guy, I think, because it's got My Guy, which is the big track on here. How When My Heart Belongs to You is the one that I liked. I've put that on the playlist. So yeah, I listened to this just earlier today, and yeah, sometimes I think sort of Motown albums have got a bit of a, you know, they got a bit of a common sound, or like, you know, you sort of know it's a Motown release, whereas I wouldn't say this has got that sound to it. It's maybe just more a bit of an early 60s soul sound, and yeah, it was totally working for me. Yeah, same with this, but in a very different way. This is Barbara Mason, Loves the Thing. This is later. This is from 75. This is her fourth LP. So this is soul, but a very different sound. And again, maybe I wouldn't have thought I'd be into this, but I'm really into this record. I had quite a few tracks on the playlist, and yeah, I was feeling them all really, and just had to lose a few. So the ones that I've left on are Shaking Up and What Do You Say. I mean, the concept of this album is mostly around infidelity, and I suppose that's the theme. But yeah, it's just the instrumentation and the orchestration, and yeah, it's just a really sort of. It's just a really, really rewarding listen. So I mean, this was cheap. This was from Mike's. I mean, there's sleeve damage there, so I mean, he can't have charged me much for this. Yeah, got this from Mike as well. So this is the Isleys. This is their album from '81. Again, there's like a few tracks on this that have got a sound that maybe I wouldn't normally think I'm looking for. Like quite sort of smooth and laid back maybe, but there's a few others that have got definitely a bit more of a, I don't know, a bit more of a rumble going on and sort of bass slap maybe, and a bit more upbeat. Who Said was definitely a bit of a standout. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with the band dynamic around this time. Someone on Discogs was commenting about this sort of Photoshop style sleeve collage almost, isn't it? So I don't know whether they were not getting on, or whether this album was sort of put together with sort of studio outtakes. But there's some decent stuff on it, so it's well worth having. So an epic. Yeah, and Mike also had a load of like reggae and a few dub things maybe, but all the sleeves have been water damaged, so a lot of them he'd just binned, and it was just the records. And so for the albums, I wasn't looking at those, but for like the singles, it doesn't really matter, does it, if it was just in a company sleeve. And I've got some brilliant stuff really. Just got a load of Gregory Isaacs things. This probably being the pick of them. This is from 79, Going Downtown. It's got Motherless Children on the B-side. I mean, I probably didn't study these records in too much detail. Plus, it was outside, so I don't know, my eyesight's not as good as it used to be. It's actually got paint on the record. And there's like a bit of it on the B-side as well. And honestly, it doesn't make any difference. I thought the run-in to this would be ruined. And because it's just all on the outer edge, there's about three, it's not even a tick. You can just hear like 3 revolutions and then it's fine. And it plays great. So, Reggae 12s are pretty indestructible. This was another one, Musical Murder. This is later. This is from 85. This is also good. This album is just amazing, start to finish. This is such a great album. This is from 79. Pretty much could have picked anything for the playlist, but I mean, I've just left on what I was listening to as I've been driving around this week. So Universal Tribulation, Slave Market, Soon Forward. But like I say, could have picked any of them. I mean, the sleeve's trashed. But I've played the record today and it's fine. So well happy with that. And yeah, this was the last one of his actually. So this is the single taken from that album, Soon Forward. And it's also got Uncle Joe on the B-side, which is also good. That's from a previous LP, Cool Ruler from 78. Got this. My mate pulled this out actually, and then he rejected it. And I listened to it, or he was playing it on his phone. I was thinking, well, yeah, I'm having that then. So this is Mathematic Moderne. Yeah, it's from 81, sort of French synth pop duo. Or maybe it's from 1980 actually. it did remind me of sort of Telex and Moscow Disco. And when I looked into it, that tune was from '79, so I imagine that was a bit of an influence on these guys, these two. But yeah, I mean, both tracks on this are good. A plus B equals C, I think that's the other one. Disco Rough is the one on the playlist. I got another copy of this. I think I picked this up recently. Everybody Get Dancing Bombers, which was a little bit ropey, but this was cleaner. This is a cheap record, very familiar. So it's just a disco tune from '79, sort of Canadian studio project, from what I was reading. This was a nice one to get, though. This is Aquarian Dream, You're a Star. So this was Norman Connors. Yeah, so you got You're a Star is the main track. Play it for me one more time on the B-side. Those two are both from their second LP, which is this one. This is a really nice album. 78. I mean, at one time you could get things like this for £6. I just noticed. This is more like 30 quid now. But yeah, pretty pleased to get that on the 12-inch single. Picked this up maybe Inverness. Firefly, Love It's Gonna Be on Your Side. I've already got, I think I've shown this actually in a previous video, because I've got a 12-inch single of this, but for 50p I'm not leaving that behind because I really like it. So that's 1981, sort of Italian disco outfit. Alan Tew. So I got this from Mike's. I probably just got this. So there's loads of his versions of sort of popular theme tunes, I guess. So you got Star Wars, 007. I probably got this for The Hanged Man, which is his tune. But I've listened to this today, and yeah, I like it all. So The Hanged Man, I hadn't realised until recently that this is all his work, played by Bullet, but they're all his compositions. So this is 75. So this was a soundtrack to a Yorkshire TV production. But yeah, all the music's by Alan Tew, just played by Bullet. So the theme tune is on here. This is from 78. But it's just a bit of a, I don't know, just a different version, maybe a bit more pumped up. And yeah, I mean, this is a cheap record, and it's worth having. It's on this CBS label. Yeah, and so Mike also, he had a load of, he didn't have a load, but he had quite a few Japanese records. So I was looking a few of them up and having a listen, and mostly they were all like really average pop records, or just, you know, boring, easy listening. And like, you know, you get excited when you see foreign records, and especially Japanese stuff, because I suppose I'm a bit more looking out for city pop things now, and stuff that I've ignored my entire life. But yeah, this was there, and I think I played a bit of this, and I looked it up, and I didn't see the value actually. I just saw that 7,000 people had it in their want list and played a bit, and I just thought, yeah, well, I'm grabbing this then. And it turns out it's a pretty desirable record. It's from 1976. It's Masayoshi Takanaka. And I think it's just been reissued maybe this year or last year. And so I think he was born in China and then he settled in Japan. He's a guitarist. So it's kind of like it's a Japanese jazz fusion, guitar-based, groovy pop album. I don't know. I really enjoyed every part of this. The lead track has had like millions of views. Oh Tengo Serato. And I sort of got it, and I was sort of, yeah, I kind of like this. And then, but as the album progresses, like the sound it definitely sort of goes to different places, and yeah, some of them were definitely a bit more funky and upbeat, and there's a few instrumental tracks. So the other one that I've put on there is Funky Marchan, which was really good. I mean, so yeah, I mean, this was a bit of a find, really. The sleeve's trashed, but that doesn't really matter. The inner's nice enough, and yeah, the record's clean. And it's a Japanese pressing, so it sounds great. I got this Pale Fountain single. Probably didn't need this because I've got the 12. So this is Thank You, but it's the B-side, which I love. Meadow of Love. So this is from 82. I got Lou Reed Transformer. I think he priced this at £4 because it was a reissue, so I thought it might be an upgrade, and I haven't checked yet. But yeah, so I've been listening to Vicious all week and thoroughly enjoying that. This was another possible upgrade, Let It Bleed. So yeah, when he was pricing this, he just sort of looked at it, and it's a boxed Decca label, so it's not an original. But yeah, when I've worked out what pressing this is, because of the various configuration of, you know, all these identifiers and catalogue numbers and all the rest of it, and there's so many pressings of this, but I think this might be the first pressing with the boxed Decca. So, you know, it's early. I don't know if it's 69 or 70 or something like that. So, I mean, not that really matters. It was supposed to have come with a poster, which it doesn't. But yeah, I mean, he gave me this for free. Just very, very generous of him. And yeah, so this is Osric's Sploosh. So this was actually in the window of Europa Music, and yeah, and this was on my want list. Basically, so because of this track, Live Throb, because yeah, if you get this album, the CD version, that's the last track, but on the record it's missing. So this is Strangitude from 91. So Sploosh is taken from this. And I'm late to Osric's, to be honest. I've only been listening to them in the last few years, and I rate them really highly. I mean, they're basically sort of an 80s... yeah, sort of psychedelic electronic rock band with, you know, quite a lot of flute in places and pretty trippy and banging. And yeah, I mean, if you've never listened to them, then yes, these two tracks are pretty decent place to start, I reckon. This was priced at £10, which is probably quite high, but yeah, I think Osric's have never released anything on a major label. Yeah, and they're hugely prolific as well. This was the last thing that I got from Mike. As I was waiting for my mate to work out everything that he was getting, I went through the tapes. He priced this at £2. He knows it's worth more than £2. I think he was just being nice. But yeah, I mean, everybody's got a bit of nostalgia for an Oasis at the moment, haven't they? And I'm no exception to that. I saw them when they toured this, and I would have liked to have seen them this year. Yeah, and then the last thing that I got was this Lemon Jelly box. Yeah, so, I mean, this is the CD that you might be more familiar with, 64 to 95. But yeah, I sort of regret not buying this when it came out. I basically pulled a load of things from the back room and a few things from the racks, and I was getting everything priced up at the till. And then I'm just looking around, and I'd already seen that they had Lost Horizons on the wall for £200. And then this was on the shelf, and I just hadn't seen it, and the price was obscured, so I just asked her. And she said it was 65, and then I just asked to look at it. You get five discs, and it's still got the poster, which is sort of within the shrink. And yeah, it's a nice thing. And the records, they genuinely looked unplayed. And so I just asked her, like, yeah, you know, is there anything that you can do here, sort of thing. And because I wasn't spending loads. I think I was spending like 35 quid or something. So she said, well, you know, it's supposed to be 100, so you can have it for 90. So she basically knocked me a tenner off. And the 65 is probably under the median. And maybe I've got a little bit caught up in the speculation of lemon jelly items and never going to get reissued, and buy them while you can. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased to own this, and that's a decent price. So yeah, there you go. That's a lot. Cheers.